Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast here on your Tuesday morning, we will be talking about the upcoming pattern as El Nino continues to flex its muscles to end the month of January and open up the month of February. We'll get into all the details that you need to know in today's weather forecast. But first, if you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns across North America, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We have you covered here with accurate weather forecasts moving forward. And also be sure to press the like button down below, everyone. It helps out more than you know. And I do want to know from each and every one of you, what would you like to see that is different in my weather forecast? Comment down below. I'd like to answer any of those questions you do have, and also look at any of the comments that you do have about my upcoming forecasts and what you would like to see in them as well. So let's look here at the weather forecast across North America. Let's zoom the picture out here, and you can see currently this morning we do have high pressure ridging across southern Canada here and most of the United States, and the influence of that will be present across most of our areas here today as well, with drier weather and a lot milder conditions. And then you see that trough off across the western Atlantic basin. That was our weekend system. That is now a thing of the past here. So looking at our current weather conditions across the United States this morning, we do have a little disturbance moving across portions of the Great Lakes into the western Ohio Valley. This is bringing some wet snowflakes to places like Detroit, down toward Lansing, Michigan there, and then down across Fort Wayne, maybe a mix of rain and snow. Getting down through Indianapolis there into southeastern Illinois, we start to see more of the rain shower activity currently out there with this system. But the system is weak, so we're not looking at anything too big out there this morning. No significant travel impacts or anything like that. Across the Pacific Northwest, we're starting to see more showers across western Washington State, western Oregon, and far northwestern California this morning. Still not that big of a deal. Let's look at our temperature anomalies this morning. As you're heading out the door for work, school, or to run any errands out there, it is pretty nice out there. As you head out the door, temperature anomalies are well above normal across southern Canada and across the western half of the country here. Any areas below normal is really down here toward the southeast or parts of the I-95 corridor up across New England. That is about it. So looking at those temperatures this morning, we are seeing some decent temperatures for late January standards to start off your day, not very far below freezing. We're seeing temperatures into the 20s and 30s, even some 40s there across the deep south. It is a little bit colder up here across portions of interior New England. So if you're waking up here across northern or central Maine, temperatures there are near zero this morning. That's really the only game in town, so to speak, for cold air. But as we go into the afternoon, we'll start to see those temperatures warm into the middle 20s across portions of Maine, and the rest of us well above normal. Look at the Great Plains. We're into the 60s. Yes, 66 degrees this afternoon into the Rapid City area, all the way up in South Dakota, folks, even 60s all the way up into Montana this afternoon. And looking here at the precipitation chances through the day, that little clipper system or weak disturbance will continue to move across the Great Lakes and into the Ohio Valley here, bringing some wet snowflakes with some rain-snow mixes here across portions of Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and southeastern lower Michigan through the day. We also have some rain showers across the Pacific Northwest as well, Seattle, down through the Portland region through the day. As we go into tonight, that system across the Ohio Valley will continue to move south and eastward in towards portions of West Virginia, and the Carolinas, mainly bringing rain. As it moves further southeast, it's going to be encountering temperatures well above freezing, so the liquid precipitation will be more prevalent there across the Carolinas, and then more liquid precipitation with rainfall across portions of Washington State, western Oregon, and northwestern California through tonight. As we go through your Wednesday, not much happening across the country, a little bit of some energy moving into the Pacific Northwest on Wednesday, bringing some heavier rains here again to Washington State, Oregon, and Northern California through your Wednesday timeframe to end the month of January. Let's look, though, at the system here across the Great Lakes. It's going to be producing some wet snowflakes, but it's not going to be that significant of a system. And you can see the evidence here showing around an inch of snow at worst case scenario here for eastern lower Michigan, maybe up to a quarter to half an inch across portions of northeastern portions of Indiana. Indiana, northwestern Ohio, and central Ohio. So really not that big of a deal through your Wednesday night time frame. But let's look at the upcoming pattern. So this is a typical El Nino winter pattern, and we've shown you this a few times in the past few videos. We have warmer and milder air across portions of Canada and the northern tier of the United States with a less active polar jet stream. So that keeps us dry primarily to the north and especially across the Ohio Valley. What we're seeing is a persistent but an extended Pacific jet stream pumping in that eastern Pacific moisture across not only California, but the southern portion of the United States. And it's also keeping us much cooler with a lot of that cloud cover around and that precipitation around in this pattern. And look at that. Late this week and into the weekend, look at that jet stream as we just saw it with a typical El Nino winter pattern. We have that less active polar jet to the north with that high pressure up there as well. And then we have that more persistent Pacific jet stream moving in across California, but all the way down here into the Four Corners region, Texas and northern Mexico. So that's going to bring that storm system and storm track further to the south through the weekend. So let's look at this here. So on Friday, this is the 2nd of February, we have that high pressure blocking across southern Canada, but look out west. Here's our new storm system we're watching moving onto the west coast, especially there for California and Oregon and even parts of Nevada on Friday. Then as we go into Saturday, the main area of interest will be down here into the southern plains, the central low pressure down into the Texas Panhandle. And then as we go into Sunday, the low pressure will make its way down into the lower Mississippi Valley into places like Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi as we go into later this weekend. But look what waits in the wings. Yet another storm system entering in later next weekend toward California and Oregon, and we're going to do it all over again with that persistent jet stream across the southern United States. So let's take a look at our precipitation chances moving through late week and into the weekend. Here's Friday, February 2nd. Very dry out across the eastern third of the country. High pressure will be in control. To the west, the Rockies will start to see more snowfall, and also across the west as well, the Sierras out in California getting some very nice snows there on Friday. Lower elevation still too warm, so we'll see some rainfall out there. And look at the weekend. These temperatures are going to be well above normal. Here's your Saturday forecast for high temperatures east of the Rockies. We're going to be warming up in a big way. The Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and New England will start to see temperatures in the 40s and the 50s out there, 60s and some 70s further to the south for Saturday and Sunday as well. So the weekend will be pretty nice for temperatures east of the Rockies with this pattern, but that means our precipitation as it moves in across the southern U.S. will be primarily rain in this pattern because it's so warm. So we're going to see the colder air on the backside of the storm, the cold air aloft, producing some snow across portions of the Rockies here, just outside the Denver region, up through Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, even parts of Utah. But then on the warm side, temperatures are 40s and 50s, so we're just not going to see snow this weekend. Rainfall here from the Great Plains down through the lower Mississippi Valley, and that will extend into Sunday. But notice, the low pressure track is all the way down into the lower Mississippi Valley in the southern United States, so we're really not seeing that much precipitation to the north. We have some, but we're not seeing a lot of that. The more significant totals will be further to the south here through the lower Mississippi Valley, the southeast, and eventually up toward the mid-Atlantic in this pattern. So let's look at our total precipitation in inches from Friday, February 2nd through Monday, February 5th, and you can see where the heaviest precipitation amounts will be in this pattern across the southern tier of the United States, from the southern plains into the lower Mississippi Valley and the southeast, and then back across California. We're waiting for a new storm to move in, producing some very heavy rains for most of the Sacramento Valley out here, and the snowfall with this system as well. We're going to start to see some decent snows across the Rockies, and the Sierras are absolutely going to get crushed by a few feet of snow. 2 to 4 feet of snow will be possible here in the highest of elevations in the Sierras out in California, but even outside of there, Idaho, western Montana, Wyoming, western and central Colorado, getting into Utah there, Arizona, New Mexico. A lot of these areas will be seeing higher elevations over a foot of snow through the weekend. So definitely good news for the ski resort and the watershed out west. That is for sure. Now let's look at the second week into February. We still have that high pressure ridge and the blocking across southeastern portions of Canada. And what we mean by blocking is is the low pressure as they come into the west coast, they have nowhere to go but underneath of this here. And you can see that second system moving in across portions of California, Nevada, and into the Four Corners region as we enter into the second week in February. And you can see where the heaviest signal is for precipitation between the 5th and the 12th of February here. That signal is across California and yes, Southern California, Los Angeles there, San Diego, Fresno, and even over into Las Vegas, Phoenix, seeing some very nice rainfall with this system. That will extend eastward into portions of Colorado, New Mexico, and notice the southeast getting drenched by some rains out here into the second week into February. And looking at that, the experts at the Climate Prediction Center between that 5th and 6th and all the way through the 12th time frame have that slight risk for flash flooding and excessive rainfall across the deep south and the southeast, but a moderate to a high risk for excessive rainfall with some flooding across central California, getting into southern California, Arizona, and western parts of New Mexico with this pattern. And looking at the snowfall prospects between the 5th and the 12th, notice we get absolutely crushed out here across the Rockies and the Sierras. Get some very nice snows yet again with the second system. So we have the first system producing nice snows for the Sierras, and then the second system comes in and produces another couple of feet of snow for the Sierras here as we go into the second week of February. And looking at that, look at all the areas that have a slight, a moderate, high risk for heavy snow, and this includes much of the Rockies, getting into the Four Corners region, and a little area up here into the north central plains that we have to watch out for with the slight risk for some heavier snow in this pattern through February 12th. Then as we get from the 12th through the 19th, this is into mid-February now, we start to see a little change in the weather pattern a little more. You have that ridge that was in southeastern Canada, that's going to retrograde further west, and we're going to start to see ridging all the way up into Alaska. And this is a prime and perfect scenario for snow across the eastern United States during this pattern. And you can see that setting up from the northeast, the mid-Atlantic, down through the southeast and the Gulf Coast states with the above normal precipitation signal here on the ensembles. But notice the snowfall staying further north with this pattern, and you can see that across southeastern Canada, the Great Lakes, maybe some lake effect snowfall, the northeast, and maybe parts of the Appalachians in the mid-Atlantic. But we're not really buying into the southeast with this pattern quite yet. Remember, this weekend we're going to be into the 50s, okay? So that's not really going to do us a lot of favors in getting a healthy snowpack across the Midwest with temperatures in the 50s. So we're kind of resetting the foundation up across the north to try and get that colder air to move south. And we'll see if we can get some snow down here in the southeast during that middle February timeframe. It's possible, but I don't see a lot of evidence of that happening. I think most of our precipitation between the 12th and the 19th will actually be rain across the southeast. But don't lose hope yet. We still have a long way to go, and we'll continue to watch this as it does get closer. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below for detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics moving forward toward tropical weather season. We have lots of great videos ahead for you. We have the February forecast being released tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We have the spring forecast coming out on Friday, February 2nd. And then a week from this Friday on February 9th, we actually have the severe weather season forecast coming out. So another reason to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to press the like button down below. It helps out more than you know. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week out there.